Well, I wanted to go back to some of the reaction to Donald Trump's move to remove Nicolas Maduro from power in Venezuela and have a bit more of a chat about this Santa Claus fantasy that the left seems to hold on to when it comes to this thing they call international law. And who better to unpack the legalities and technicalities of this precision military operation than my next guest, Kurt Schlichter. He's a retired U.S. Army colonel, a lawyer, a senior columnist at townhall.com, and also the author of the Kelly Turnbull series of action novels, including the latest installment, Panama Red, which is some great summer reading for you right there. Kurt, welcome to the program, and I want to start out with all of this hand-wringing about international law. I mean, here in Australia, we now have so-called experts saying that we may need to reevaluate the American alliance because of Trump's actions in Venezuela. This is fairly ridiculous, isn't it?
International law is a guy with a rifle standing there. International law enforcement is whether you can move him or not. It's an illusion. It's childish. It is designed by weaker nations to restrain stronger nations. And America played along and still plays along, mostly because we're a nation that at heart is good and we feel that there should be some sort of international order. But, you know, we need to be clear about this. America's interests are America's interests, and those are what we're going to pursue. Yeah. We're not going to pursue arbitrary constructions by some Chardonnay swilling SSRI-ridden leftist woman who thinks that she can shame, nag, and pester us into conformance. And we're not going to tolerate communists in our hemisphere. That's done. It's over. Get over it, guys and gals.
And, you know, Kurt, the thing that strikes me about this whole idea of international law is nobody has an answer to this question, which is that, you know, if you followed the UN Charter and said you can't, you know, go into another country and do something like Donald Trump and the Pentagon just did, then Maduro is still in power. The Venezuelans are still suffering. We've still got, in America, you've still got this huge problem with Venezuela, with Russia, with China, with Iran on their doorstep. There's no answer that this construction of, this progressive construction of international law has to what do you do about a problem like a Maduro?
Well, look, when these people start babbling about international law, I was a trial lawyer for 30 years as well as an infantry colonel. My first question is, well, which one do you mean? And what's it require? And what are the obligations on the people asserting it? And furthermore, and of course, I never get a good answer. It's like when they say, well, you're violating the Geneva Convention. Well, which one? And which nation state is a signatory to it, who's having it violated? My question is, why, again, is the United States or any nation going to agree to some sort of system of rules that requires us to have a hostile power in our backyard that's sending us poison, that's sending us criminals, that's providing a headquarters for China, Russia, Iran, Hezbollah, and the damn Cubans?
No, exactly, Kurt. And, you know, also, because you're an infantry colonel, former infantry colonel, I want to talk to you about the operation itself, too, and particularly about all of this bleeding as well, about how Congress wasn't notified, how they kept it too secret, but you would know about planning this sort of operation and the need for secrecy. I'm amazed that some of those complaining right now don't get it, but I have been so impressed by Marco Rubio, who I think has been the man of the side in all of this here. His response here to NBC's Kirsten Walker, who didn't get any of this. Have a look at this.
This was a law enforcement function to capture an indicted drug trafficker. And of course, we needed the Department of War to support it because they do have anti-aircraft missiles that could shoot down those helicopters.
But will you?
We had to take down radars. We had to take down those anti-air elements on the way in and on the way out. And that's what this was limited to.
But will you seek congressional approval for any further action in Venezuela or the region?
Well, we will seek congressional approval for actions that require congressional approval.
I mean, I thought that was a great answer right there, but
well, he's so good.
Exactly.
Look, the American Constitution's not a suicide pact. Okay, you know, if there's a, if the nuclear missiles are coming over the Arctic Circle, heading towards the U.S., you don't have to convene Congress to figure out whether you push the big red button to send the damn communists to hell where they belong. the Constitution envisions the Congress declaring war, and that's a good thing. I know I've been in a couple wars, and you want the United States, the people of the United States, through elected representatives, to weigh in on extended, continuing military operations. But the president is the commander in chief of our military, and he has a right to exercise and the authority and the duty, frankly, to exercise the power of the office and defeat our enemies quickly and surgically. I mean, this military operation was over and done before most of these people could start complaining. And that's because our guys are so damn good. And you're right. I do know about planning operations. It is hard to imagine. Imagine being a conductor with a symphony orchestra the size of a soccer stadium. Well, football stadium, whatever you guys call it. And Americans are so damn good at it, but I think it's necessary. I have a shout out to our Australian friends who are tactically, well, we just adore you guys. You're so damn good at this stuff. But we're really good at massive logistical, intelligence, cyber, communication, synchronization, and sustainment and execution. This is what America does best. And our guys did an amazing job. This is legendary stuff.
And they managed to take out Hugo Chavez's tomb in the process, too, which I thought was a really great touch there. But, Kurt, while I've got you, can we also just have a little quick chat about Greenland? Keir Starmer in the UK, the Danish government, and other Europeans are having a meltdown over Trump's latest comments about Greenland, saying that if the U.S. takes Greenland, which, by the way, the U.S. occupied during World War II and which it has tried to acquire a number of times, it's the end of NATO. Can you explain for our Australian viewers why the Trump administration is so keen on Greenland, but also how the bleating about this from Europe kind of actually exposes some of the weakness on that side of the Atlantic?
Well, threatening us with the end of NATO, huh? You're going to threaten me with a good time, right? See, traditionally, threats are things that you really don't want to happen, but that's neither here nor there. The fact is, look, America is not going to go in and start killing our allies to grab that hunk of land. The Danish can't protect it, which is why it's been an American protectorate. And the United States believes that it is important strategically for us and for our friends in Europe that this key terrain be under the control of a force that can actually defend it. And the only force is the United States. The idea of the United States is going to go in and start hurting our allies, even though we've got plenty of problems with them and their problems with free speech and their problems with immigration and their problems with being freeloading slackers. It's just silly.
Yeah. Kurt Schlichter, thank you so much for breaking that down for us and for your time. And a very happy New Year to you too, sir.
Hey, Happy New Year to you. Always love talking to our Australian friends.